Good afternoon, students. Today we are going to learn exercise of first lesson from history, and in that we are going to see what are the questions and what are the answers, and also we are going to start today the second lesson of history is that India events after 1960. So what are the events took place after the independence and for the empowerment of women, and also the particular status of society that we are going to study in second chapter. But before that, now today we are going to see sources of history's exercise. So first question we are going to see now. Choose the right option and rewrite the sentence. In that first we are going to see the National Archives of India is situated at. The National Archives of India situated at dash dash. So already in previous lecture we have studied that about the archives. It contains, it mainly related to the books, historical books or documents. So one of the part we have studied about the archives is that the main center, the National Archives of India, is situated at dash dash. So the answer is the historical document preserved is called archives. The main office of the National Archives of India is New Delhi. So it is situated at New Delhi. So answer is New Delhi. Now second question that we are going to see now. The dash dash is included among the audio visual media. The dash dash is included in audio visual media. In previous lecture we have studied that there are three main sources of history: oral, written and material. And another one next we have studied that fourth one, audio visual aid. So in that yesterday we have discussed briefly that the medium or the media through which we are getting information by watching and listening at the time, so that media is called audio visual aid. So here answer, four options are there. First one, newspaper, television, second option. Now third one, all India radio and periodicals. So we will discuss briefly about the option first. Newspaper, at the time we can only read, we can see, but we cannot hear, so it will not come into the audio visual aids. Now second option we will discuss about it, television. So at the time we can listen and watch also, so it comes into the section of audio visual media. Now third option C, all India radio. On radio only we can listen, we cannot see information, so it will also not come into a audio visual aids. It comes into the only audio aids. We can only listen audio. We can't see the audio. Next one, periodicals. We are getting monthly, weekly or yearly periodicals, and we can read information, and that time only we can see and read, but we cannot hear. So this will also not come. So right option is television is the answer for the second fill in the blanks, that the dash dash is included in audio visual aids. So answer is television. Now the third fill in the blanks, dash dash is not included in physical sources. Dash dash is not included in physical sources. First of all, I want to clear the question physical source. Physical means the subject or the matter has the one of the shape and size. So physically we can see the physical map. Whenever we are talking in geography, that time we are talking about the mountain, lands and particular area. So here dash dash is not included in physical sources. Physical means the one of the object we can see which has a shape and size. So four options are there that we are going to see now: coins, ornaments, buildings and proverbs. So first of all we have to discuss all the options, because whenever you will get another question, that same options will be there, then it will be easy to you to write the answer. So first we will see coins. So as we studied yesterday and we previously also, we know that coins will come into the material section and it has a particular shape and size. So this also comes into the physical source. Now next one, ornaments. Jewelries means ornaments, whatever we are wearing, or all persons are wearing into the ears and neck. So ornaments also have a particular shape and size, and this also comes into the physical source. Now next one, buildings. Buildings also have the shape and size, so that also comes into the physical source. Now one remain, last one, proverbs. So proverbs, we can't see the proverbs, it doesn't have any shape and size, only we can listen. So actually proverbs comes into the section of oral sources. So here the proverbs is not included into the physical sources. So answer is proverbs. Answer is proverbs. So here we have studied the three fill in the blanks. Now next we are going to see identify the wrong pair and rewrite the corrected one. So here four authors are there, and their speciality in that which subject they are special, they given here. Now first one, Joel Cooper, philatelist. Now next one, Kusumagraj, poet, you well know. from Marathi subject. The Kusumagraj is one of the greatest Marathi poet. Annabhau Sate, the people's bard, and the Amar Sheikh, art collector. So these four I am going to write now on board. So we have to find out correct pair, which one wrong, that we have to correct now only. So I am going to write on board. So first one is there, Jal Cooper. And about his specialty, philatelist. Now next one, now second one, author is Kusumagraj. And his specialty is poet. Next one, Annabhau Sate. And his specialty told here that a people's bard. So here I want to tell you what is meant by people's bard. One of the people's ideal, one of the person who is the ideal for the people, one of the inspiration for the people. That's why we can see a people's bard. Now next one we are going to see last, Amar Sheikh. So what exactly Amar Sheikh, his specialty given here that we are going to see now. So art collector, art collector. So we are going to see now Jal Cooper, philatelist, Kusumagraj poet, Annabhau Sate, people's bard, and Amar Sheikh, art collector. So if we focus on yesterday's lecture, if you see, then these three are correct, and last one, Amar Sheikh, art collector. Exactly, he is not an art collector, he is an shahir who sung the poeras of Annabhau Sate in the Sanyukta Maharashtra movement. So here we can write Shahir. So answer is Shahir. So this one is incorrect, that we have corrected now. So whatever yesterday we have studied, that we have to revise once again, then we will get a correct answer. So Jal Cooper, philatelist, Kusumagraj poet, Annabhau Sate, a people's bard, and Shahir, Amar Sheikh, he is a Shahir. So here we have seen identify the wrong pair and rewrite, and we wrote also persons and their specialties. Now we are going to see the short notes, and that we are going to discuss now. Short notes. So first point that we are going to see, short notes. that first one we are going to see written sources. So in this, basically if we see the three main sources are there: oral, written and material. So what exactly will come into the written sources? So whatever books are there, all books, novels, magazines which are preserved into the archives, which are conserved, old books, diaries, these all things. Yesterday we have drawn one web chart, and through that web chart we have got information about the material written sources. So which are the points that we are going to discuss now? First one is there in written source, newspaper. So newspaper we are getting daily, and this is one of the main source of information. We can get a lot of information from the newspaper, and they are giving updates of daily incidents. And next one is there encyclopedias. Encyclopedias, in that many were the dictionaries are there, or many were the new informative books are there that gives more information. So it comes into the section of encyclopedias. Now next one, periodicals. We getting a weekly, daily, monthly and yearly. These are periodicals who are publishing by the government also and by the private sector. Newspaper section also. So the periodicals also gives a lot of information about the whole year's incident which took place into the country. So periodical also important source for the writing history. It comes into the written source. Now next, postage stamps. How yesterday we have studied about the postage stamp. If you see the picture which is printed on postage stamps, through that stamp picture we can get a lot of information. It is said that by the writer that we can make speak, or we can make you speak that postage stamp. If you see only picture, but you can get more information about the Indian diversity and Indian lifestyle, Indian culture through the post stamps. Now next one, from written sources, diaries. We are daily using to note down incidents related to our life or someone's life. If we getting the diary, then we will get a lot of information. Many were the historians using still today also the diaries. So that is very essential and useful thing for the writing historical, for writing history, and this is called a written source. This comes into the written source. Now next one, government gadgets. If you visited already to the municipal corporation office, or otherwise tehsil office, otherwise district collector office, in these places the government gadgets were using. The stamps are also there and various documentations are there. These all things comes into the government gadgets, and that are preserved for long time for keeping record of the people's particular plot or particular building or particular farm. These all, one example is there, 712 extract is there, or 812 extract is there about the land and about the farm. So these all documents comes into the government gadgets. Now next thing is a reference book. We are getting reference book. If you want, or if you curious about to know more about particular thing, then you will get a reference books. And now next one is documents in the archives. So whatever documentation or books are there which is kept into the particular place, for example library, and they have preserved from the ancient time, and they have conserved very well, and in that place you can get the all books from the archives. So these all things comes into the written source, and based on the written source we can write the history, and written source is one of the essential thing for the writing history. Now next point we are going to see in write short notes. Press Trust of India, PTI. Press Trust of India. So PTI, Press Trust of India, what the work did by Press Trust of India, that we are going to see once again, and then we will get more information about it and we have to write it afterward. After 1953, the Press Trust of India has been an important source of primary detail of important events and of articles of important subjects. They keeping the record. Press Trust of India has provided reports, photographs and articles on financial and scientific issues to newspaper. PTI means Press Trust of India, has now started its online service. During the 1990s, PTI started using the satellite broadcast technology insisted of teleprinters to send news all over the country. This material is important for writing the history of modern India. One of the important role for writing history of Press Trust of India. Through that we can get a lot of information, and they have started to use satellite broadcasting also, and that is very essential. So next one we are going to see, give reasons. Third question, give reasons. So that way, in that we are going to see the postal department tries to preserve the heritage and integrity of Indian culture through the postage stamps. So as we already discussed in previous lecture, that we have a lot of and different type of diversity in a language, in a lifestyle, in a physical area, in our food. So these all things should be preserved, and people should know more about it from the different state or different nation. So that's why government started to print some photographs about the particular nation's diversity and lifestyle on the postal stamps. Through this, what happened? Each person will get to know about the lifestyle, about the language, about the climate, about the diversity of particular nation, and this is one of the main source to preserve the tradition, keep the culture, and it is very essential for the country. Next question that we are going to see, audio visual media are an important source for writing the history of modern India. As we know already that before independence, pre-independence period, there is a lack of audio visual media. So after independence after 1947, so here we are started to study about the 1960. So in that period, many newspaper channels or Press Trust of India also started satellite broadcasting, and they started to send the news all over the India through the satellite and online. So through this, what happened? Many were the people, and that all people are getting a news in the corner, in the corner of any corner of the country. They are getting the news at a time, and this is very beneficial because at a time people can see the incident, any live incident or any a particular movement took place, and from that they can see and they can listen at the time. So it is very interesting to know more about the particular incident while we are seeing and listening, that a very effectively information will reach into the society. So that's why audio visual at the time we can see the picture and we can listen. So they are very effective media to spread or to reach into the society or to spread the news or incident. So that's why people can get more interest into it. So audio visual aid is also very important, because through the recording we can get a video of particular incident, and we can record a voice also. So that is very important source to keep the record, and afterward we can use for the writing history. So audio visual aid is very effective media for the writing history and also to spreading the news into the society. Okay. Okay students, now we are proceeding towards second lesson of history, India events after 1960. India events after 1960. Now we are going to see the second lesson. Events after 1960. So in India, what happened exactly, which events or movements took place, that we are going to study. We are going to get more information about our country. Okay. So first of all we will see what happened exactly. India became independent in 1947 century. India accepted the constitutional framework in 1950 and became a sovereign democratic nation. Sovereign democratic nation. Sovereign, they have a many words, different of caste and religions, and these all religions happily living together. So India gives a scope or equal value to the all religion. Sovereign, they have their separate rights or separate freedom. There is no more value to any particular religion. So also democratic. The definition of democratic we have studied from, I think so, 6th standard onwards. So from the people, by the people, for the people, and also from the people. So this definition, what it suggests? Totally peoples are involved into the democratic work. Peoples are only ruling, they are selecting peoples for themselves in a democratic nation. The Indian society is multicultural and people of various languages, religions and ethnicities and caste live together. As I told already now, just many different types of people from different type of religion and speaking different language, their lifestyle also is different, their food is also different, they living together happily. This shows the diversity from India. And another one thing, it can show us that is called unity in the diversity. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru said that unity in diversity, that India has a large, or we can say huge diversity, and in that we are living together with unity, one of the greatest thing in our country. So this is the introduction of our country. So after independence, what events or moments took place, that we are going to see. During the initial periods after independence, India needed to solve different issues of economic, political and social developments. We got independence. Our first motto, that independence, we got our first problem solved. Now different problems that we have to overcome, or we have to come out from that. We have to overcome out from that. Which are the problems? Social issues, political issues and economic issues. If you see today, many of the countries are totally today developed, and we are saying that India is underdeveloping country. But what are the social issues? What is the Varna system? Varna? What is the caste system? Castes which were backward from their facilities, untouchability, deprived classes, backward classes. These are the social issues. What about the status of women? Are they getting equal status today? These are the social issues. What about the employment? How many percent population comes under the poor ratio, and many were the people migrating yearly. They leaving their places, they migrating from rural to urban. This is the problem comes into the section of economical development. And another one main is political. What about ruling, and what about the system which is very useful for society? That political system we want. These all issues came in front of India after the independence, that we are going to see now. The establishment of the planning of commission and emphasis on industrialization. So the establishment of the planning commission and emphasis on industrialization was means to achieve economic development and the eliminate poverty in India. So main objective is that to remove the poverty from society. For that, government is started to emphasize or work on the new policies regarding the development of industrialization. If government develops industrialization, then the many other people from society could get a job or employment, and it will help to remove the poverty from the society. Successful conduct of elections and faith in democratic traditions made it possible for us to achieve political stability. If we want successful policies from government, or if we want political parties should be able stable for long period, means their particular period, then people must have faith on political parties. Then that party will implement many further policies and schemes for the development of society. So this is called political stability development. Next one. At the same time, several social reforms, including policies and programs for the weaker sections of society, were sought to be implemented. Many of the weaker sections are there, many of the Dalits community is there, also backward classes are there, SC, NT, these are all, and for them to improve their status in society, they should also come with the ratio, or they should also come with the other caste, in the flow of other caste. So to improve them, government started many were the policies and programs to about awareness about their status. So these are also programs necessary to develop the status of many were the backward and weaker sections from the society. Now first point we are going to see in this, the 1960s. In that, what happened, that we are going to see now, the 1960s. In the decade of the 1960s, several events occurred which had huge impact on the political situation in India. The regions of Goa, Diu and Daman were freed from the Portuguese rule and became a part of Indian Federation. Main important change took place into the decade of 1960, that Goa and Diu Daman were made free from the Portuguese ruler and they attached or merged with the Indian Federation. The tensions between India and China on the northern border, which had been rising since 1950, culminated in the war of 1962 between two countries. So whatever tension on the borders in northern part of India and China, so that afterward culminated, means converted into the war of 1962. So this is one of the very serious problem in front of our country during the period of 1960. This war was fought in the region of the McMahon line. So there is a border line in between India and China in the northern part of India. So that border line is called McMahon line. After India became independent, Prime Minister Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru led the country. He was the architect of India's foreign policy. The architect, the founder, the creator of foreign policy of our country, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. His contribution to the social and economic development of India is significant, very essential contribution for the foreign policy and also social and economical development of our country. Jawaharlal Nehru passed away in 1964. Lal Bahadur Shastri succeeded him and became the next Prime Minister of India, the second Prime Minister after Jawaharlal Nehru. When Jawaharlal Nehru passed in 1964, then quickly the Lal Bahadur Shastri became the next Prime Minister of India. During his tenure, means his work time, during his period, India and Pakistan went to war over the Kashmir issue in 1965. Keep into your mind, students, that first China and India's war took place between 1962 and now the second 1965, Pakistan and India, the war between Pakistan and India for the Kashmir issue. So that we are going to see now. So, Kashmir issue. The Soviet Union tried to mediate between the two countries. Lal Bahadur Shastri gave the slogan Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan. Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan. The slogan for the wellness of the farmers and the soldiers. One first taking the care of our food and another the soldiers that taking care of our shelter. So Lal Bahadur Shastri given the slogan Jai Jawan Jai Kisan, with which he highlighted the importance of Indian soldiers and Indian farmers. Lal Bahadur Shastri breathed his last at Tashkent in 1966. Indira Gandhi became the Prime Minister of India in 1966. The first lady Prime Minister of our country, that Indira Gandhi. Her decision making ability was admirable. Very we can take a notice, or admirable we can say, means we can take something good, very noticeable. Her decision making ability, on the spot, the taking decisions. So her attitude that to take the decisions as quick as. Her decisions regarding the nationalization of banks and cancelling pensions of princes had far-reaching effects. Nationalizations of banks, many were the banks were made connected to Indian government, they made they nationalized, and another one, Indira Gandhi, she cancelled the pensions of princes. Many were the princes, states, princes, kings and queens we have studied. So they had pensions in that period, so that cancelled by Indira Gandhi, Prime Minister, first Lady Prime Minister of India. Far-reaching effect. During her tenure, Pakistan's oppressive politics in the East Pakistan resulted in a big movement there. This movement was led by Sheikh Mujibur Rahman and his organization Mukti Bihani. This crisis in the East Pakistan offered India as well as because millions of refugees came to India. So one of the movement took place, Mukti Bihani. So through this, in this crisis, the East Pakistan affected India as well. So because millions of refugees came to India. Next point, we are going to see the 1970s. Now the 1970s. So what exactly happened between these 10 years that we are going to see, 1970s to 1980? The 1971 war between India and Pakistan led to the creation of independent country called Bangladesh. The role of Prime Minister Indira Gandhi's strong leadership was prominent in this issue as a part of India's policy to use atomic energy for peaceful purposes. India successfully carried out underground test of an atomic device at Pokhran in Rajasthan. In 1974, that atomic energy device is tested in Pokhran, Rajasthan. In 1975, the people of Sikkim voted for joining the Indian Republic and Sikkim became a full-fledged state in the Indian Federation. One of the better thing happened to India that the Sikkim, which was separate firstly, that is now attached or merged in India and that overcame as a separate state of India, means that joined with the Indian Federation in 1975. The political situation in India grew unstable. The Allahabad High Court gave the verdict in 1974 that Indira Gandhi, then the Prime Minister, had misused the government machinery during her election campaign. It led to nationwide strikes and protests. During this period, the situation became more complicated due to the movement led by Jayaprakash Narayan. The situation of law and order in the country worsened and the government declared the state of national emergency on the basis of the constitutional provisions relating to emergency. So the issue raised during the period of Indira Gandhi that she used the governmental machineries illegally, and due to that in whole over the country protest led by the people and the leadership led by Jayaprakash Narayan, and due to this incident, Indira Gandhi, the Prime Minister of India, she declared the national emergency into our country state-wise, and in this order, the government declared the state national emergency in the basis of constitutional provisions relating to the emergency. During this turbulent period, the fundamental rights of Indian citizens were suspended. There were no any rights for the people of India, no any basic rights due to the emergency. Due to the emergency, the Indian administration became a discipline, but the human rights were restricted. The period of national emergency lasted from 1975 to 1977. So 2 years national emergency, and after that general elections were conducted. After this emergency, the general elections were conducted into our country. So here we have studied the exact period 1970 to 1977, what happened exactly. So remaining part and the particular tenure of Indira Gandhi that we will study into the next lecture. So it is the notice to the all students to read the lesson whatever we have studied now. and remaining part we will continue in next lecture. Thank you.